My next guest is taking on Danny Chavez coming up here at UFC Fight Night on February 20th. It is Jared Gordon back here on the program. Jared, how's it going?
I'm doing well, James. Thanks for having me on. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's good to catch up with you. It's been a bit since we've seen you in the cage. Of course, you had that great win on Fight Island. Was the plan to always take this much time off, or were you trying to get back in there a little bit sooner?
No, I wanted to get back in there sooner, but I don't know. It's just the way the cookies crumbled, but
so to speak. Okay, fair enough.
So it's I feel like I always need to rush everything and get back in there, and then, things happen, and you're like, oh, maybe it was a good thing that I didn't jump right back in there. But here we are, so.
No, and I listen, I don't blame you. I mean, everything that happened to you leading into that last fight with the travel and your cornerman and all that stuff. So I'm sure no rush to go back to Fight Island anytime soon, because I think that's what people don't realize is that it's a lot just to get there and do the fight, from COVID testing to traveling. How was that whole experience for you?
Yeah, I mean, even if everything goes smooth, it's still a lot. It's exhausting. Just the travel alone is exhausting. Then you're dealing with the jet lag, the weight cutting, and then you got to fight. So it's a lot. For me, the experience was pretty hectic, obviously. My fiance, leading up to the fight, it was a mess. I got sick, but I tested negative every single time. Leading up to leaving for Vegas, I got tested 3 or 4 times, and I was negative every time. But I was definitely ill. I had a fever. My throat was hurting first, then I had a fever. I got tested 3 times that week while I was sick, and I tested negative every time. About 3 days after I got sick, my fiance had a miscarriage. Then, 3 or 4 days after the miscarriage, she wakes up one day, she's like, I'm not feeling well. And I'm like, you must be, worn out. But we went and got tested. Again, both of us. I tested negative. She tested positive. So she was like, you got to leave. Luckily, she owns a condo here in Boca Raton that she rents out, but it was empty. So I went over there. I quarantined there. That was about 3 weeks before the fight, and I didn't train at all in the gym leading up to Fight Island. I did all the workouts on my own. I just ran, shadow box, and did exercises by myself, and body weight stuff, and it was miserable because how much can you do on your own 2-3 times a day? And I have to work out because I got to lose the weight and blah 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 blah. So it was definitely hectic, and I was quarantining alone for 2 weeks while my fiance's home sick, and I was making runs for her. Because she wasn't well for about 2 weeks. Her symptoms weren't that ridiculous, but she was definitely sick, and you can't go outside and spread it, so she couldn't leave. So anytime she needed anything, I had to go to the supermarket and take care of her. And then leaving, it was a lot, and then all my coaches couldn't corner me, so I had to on the fly, gather corners, and luckily Felder was there, Eric Nixick, I know them both really well, and Gary Tonin, who I trained with for a long time at Henzo's in New York, was cornering Ryan Benoit. So I was like, hey, you want to help me out? And he was like, yeah, sure. And it worked out. I got the win. I didn't love the fight, but I had to just get in there and get the job done, and that's what I did.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask you about that, because like I mentioned, there was a ton going into that fight. It seemed like everything was stacked against you, plus, first fight back at 45 as well on top of that. I know you weren't happy with your performance, but, that's got to rank pretty high in career moments, just knowing what you overcame, and you got a pretty dominant win in that fight.
Yeah, on one of the judges' scorecards, it was 30-26. So I did what I had to do. I won the fight, fairly one-handedly. But in the stand-up, I felt like I had no pop. I had no snap in my punches or strikes, and I just felt slow and sluggish. And that was because of training by myself for 3-4 weeks, just doing cardio, 2-3 times a day. And I wasn't doing pads, I wasn't drilling, I didn't have any partners, I wasn't sparring, so the timing was, and then all the travel and the weight cut, and just all accumulated into in my opinion, a lackluster fight. Everyone was like, "Oh, you did great. What are you talking about?" But for me, I just felt like I had nothing on my shots. But it worked out. My opponent missed weight. I did what I had to do. I got the win, and then thank God I got a new contract. So I'm super grateful, especially in this time, to have a job and some security, and not be like walking on eggshells. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely happy, super grateful, and just glad to be doing this.
And better circumstances this time around, right? This is in Vegas, right? And as far as I know, because I talked to Danny yesterday, your opponent, he said he found out about this fight in November. Was that the same for you, I'd imagine?
November? What's today?
Today is it's January. What day is it here? January 28th today.
Did I? Yeah. Oh, maybe. I guess it was late November. Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
I would think it would be weird if he knew about a fight before you did. I mean, assuming it was.
No.
Yeah.
It must have been. It's just time is flying, dude.
No. I know. We're almost at February, right? Like we were sort of talking about there. Yeah. This is a great fight. Danny Chavez, obviously a Florida guy as well. I know that's where you're living now. He's at MMA Masters. What do you know about him? How do you feel like you match up against him here?
Stylistically, I think it's a great matchup for me. But he goes for it. He's definitely not a pushover, obviously, and he goes for it and he brings some heat, and he loves the calf kick. He loves the high kick. He spins. He throws, heavy punches. So he's dangerous, obviously, in some areas. I think, his losses play into my style. I think the grappling and I wouldn't say it's like classic grappler versus striker because, I can strike too. But I think it's no secret that I'm going to go in there and try to take him down, and he knows that. And but the question is, can you stop it? And what's going to happen in the transitions? So yeah, I've been studying him, and I'm ready, to do what I got to do and get this win.
Who've been some of the main training partners for you for this camp? Man,
the list goes on. I've been training a lot with Adam Borix, Sean Soriano, Evan Elder, one of my teammates. He, he's like 5-0, I think, or 6-0 or something like that. But he's like kind of has the same style. Herbert Burns is back now. I was training a lot with Nick Lentz and Chandler before they fought. But yeah, there's Marquez. There's a bunch of guys. I've been training with, everyone that is in and around that height of Danny is who I've been going with, and guys that like to kick. A lot of kickers in my team too,
Yeah, no, I was going to say it's a solid group of guys there. I mean, you just named pretty much like an all-star team right there. Do you get any credit? I know Brendan Allen's now at your gym, and I know you were part of him coming over there. He seems like he loves it. Do you get any sort of credit for that for being like a recruiter's fee or anything? I think it's great
Brandon is. Listen, sorry.
No, go ahead. That was pretty much what I was going to say. Yeah.
Like credit from like Henry and my coach.
Yeah, I don't know. Just to bring him over. It seems like it's been a great fit for Brendan over there with him being a middleweight. And there's a lot of guys over there now. And I see Brendan all over social media. He really loves the team. And obviously you were a big part of him coming over.
Yeah, Brendan's just a big pain in my ass. Oh, go let him thank you. Sorry, my dog's locked in another room.
Oh, it's okay.
I love Brendan. Unfortunately he's coming off a loss, but there was obviously some, he lost his opponent and a new opponent, and he had to make weight twice in a week. So I think he got thrown off a little bit. And he was fighting a veteran in Sean Strickland, who is really good. And but I think it's a great fit for him, because there's a lot of guys that are in and around his weight class. But he's like my big little brother, just pain in the ass. But I love him. Great guy, super generous. He would do anything for you, and I would do anything for him.
Love it. Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
I have 3 guys: Mark Henry, Kami Barzini, and Jason Strout, who is actually like my first real coach. He's from Milwaukee, but I met him in New York, cornered me, and he's actually sitting right here. What he's cornered me in like 13, 14 fights, something like that. Yeah, from my second pro fight to up until you cornered me my first 3 UFC fights, so about 13 fights or something like that. Yeah,
awesome.
He's been a big part of my career, big part of my life, saved my life, helped me out a lot with, my struggles. And he's the third guy. But we have Chaz Skelly and now Phil Hawes is on the card.
Yeah.
So I don't know who else is coming, but we're going to have a bunch of guys. So it should be a good night.
You said Mark Henry. Did you get to work with him for this camp?
I said Mark Henry.
I think you said Mark Henry, didn't you?
I meant to say Henry Hooft.
Henry Hooft. I was going to say, because I was like, when did you work with Mark Henry?
I was just reading something about it. That's why. Okay,
no worries. I was going to say, pretty sure you didn't train with them there, Jared. But yeah.
No. I don't even, I know Mark.
Yeah.
I meant to say Henry Hooft.
It's all good.
I get punched a lot.
I was just going to say, yeah, it's all good. You said it, not me. I imagine the weight cut's going well?
Yeah, it's great. I feel awesome. And, it's always going to suck. But I think at this point in my career, I have, figured it out. And I know how my body acts and reacts and to certain things and what my weight will be certain days, certain times, how far out. So, yeah, I got it under control.
Good stuff. How's this fight playing out on February 20th?
I think it's going to be a fun fight. I think it's going to be action-packed, and I think we're going to both go for it. But, as always, I feel like I'm going to get the finish on the ground. And, my last fight should have been a finish on the ground. Mark Goddard was close to stopping it, but I've had a couple fights that should have ended, but they weren't. But that's how I see it playing out, me on top on the ground, and I'm sure that's what he's expecting me to try to do to him. So, battle of the wills here, I think.
A win here, another win at featherweight. Where does that get you? Does that get you closer to the rankings, or where do you see yourself with a finish here, especially?
I think it's going to bump me up for sure. And I think that this is my time now. I'm going to go on a big stride here. I think I'm underrated and flying under the radar, but I think it could get me close to a ranked top 15 at least. Mm-hmm. I think I have like a little pull with my name maybe, I have experience. I've been in there with some other guys that are ranked. So I just feel like my come up has been like a little funny, and like if you look at me on paper, you're like, oh wow, he's fought some really good guys, and like his only losses are to the super good ranked guys, and in a fight where I got injured.
Right.
So I think it can get me close, yeah. So
good stuff.
I'll ask for someone ranked after.
No, I bet. Yeah, you should get a promo like your buddy Mike Chandler. How good was that?
Yeah. Man, it was like on the money. No stumbling, no trip ups while he was talking. It was perfect. And then he turned into like the heel. Now he's like the heel of UFC. So it was kind of weird because he's such a great guy. He's a Christian, and he's like a really nice human. He's not like he's really not that way,
Right. But no, you got to get people's attention though. I think he played his hand perfectly that night. Couldn't have gone any better.
He cut that shit perfectly. Yeah.
Jared, appreciate the time as always, man. Just remind people where they can get a hold of you on social media, and if you got any sponsors or shout-outs, I'll give you the last word.
What's my Twitter?
J Flash Gordon, I think.
Yeah, J Flash Gordon MMA, and Instagram Jared Flash Gordon. And shout out to Real Athlete and Hot Suit and Sanford MMA, my coaches, everyone there, and my managers, I guess, even though they annoy me sometimes. Brian Butler especially. Just joking. I love them. That's it though. That's all I got.